Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jai Mahatma Samparibrajacharya Stakari Smada Pidikam Saraswati Goswami Bhagavad Jai Ananda Kori Vaishnava Ki Jai Ramacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Names of the whole Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakti Jai Sri Radha Krishna Bhog Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giriyo Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Guru Dwarka Dham Ki Jai Swami Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai All glories to the All glories to the Thank you very much.
Nadia Gojumanitananda Mahajan Nadia Gojumanitananda Mahajan Hatya Chinam Hate Jibera Karan Hatya Chinam Hate Jibera Karan Shradhavan Jana Hai Shradhavan Jana Hai Shradhavan Jana Hai Shradhavan Jana Hai Prabhu Agai Bhai Magiye Bhikha Prabhu Agai Bhai Magiye Bhikha Bolo Krishna Bhajo Krishna Koro Krishna Shika Bolo Krishna Bhajo Krishna Koro Krishna Shika Aparara Shunna Mato Krishna Pito Krishna Dana Pran. Krishna Mato Krishna Pito Krishna Dana Pran. Krishna Samsara Koro Charyana Chan. Krishna Samsara Koro Charyana Chan. Divedoya Krishna Nam Sarva Dharmasha. Divedoya Krishna Nam Sarva Dharmasha. Shadhavan Jana He, Shadhavan Jana He. Shadhavan Jana He, Shadhavan Jana He. Nadia Gojumi Nityananda Mahajan. Nadia Gojumi Nityananda Mahajan. Katya Chenam Hate Jibera Karan.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Jagat Guru Sri Prabhupada. All glories to some Vaishnava devotees. Our scheduled speaker is not in yet, so we're going to start presenting the text while we wait for the speaker. So we thank you for being here. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamukirayit Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 4, text number 20. It's quite a lengthy purport, so we humbly suggest the devotees to pay very close attention to Srila Prabhupada's purport. Sa evam aradita padatiritat adita tatvatma vibodha maragaha pranamya pado parivritya devam ihagato hami viraha turatma. Sa evam aradita padatiritat adita tatvatma vibodha maragaha pranamya pado parivritya devam ihagato ham viraha turatma. Sa eva maradita padatirtad adita tatvatma vibodha maragaha pranayam ya pado parivritya devam ihagato ham viraha turatma. Synonyms. Saha, to myself. Evam, thus. Aradita, worshipped. Padatiritat, from the personality of Godhead. Adita, studied. Tattva Atma, self-knowledge. Vibodha, understanding. Maragaha path, pranamya, after saluting, Pado, at his lotus feet, Parevritya, after circumambulating, Devam, the Lord, Iha, at this place, Agatha, reached, Aham, I, Viraha, separation, Atura Atma, aggrieved in self. Translation and purport by Jagat Guru Param Guru A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. I have studied the path of understanding self-knowledge from my spiritual master, the personality of Godhead, and thus, after circumambulating him, I have come to this place, very much aggrieved due to separation. Purport. Sri Uddhava's actual life is the direct symbol of the Chatusloki Bhagavatam, enunciated first to Brahmaji by the personality of Godhead. These four very great and important verses from Srimad Bhagavatam are particularly taken out by the Mayavadi speculators who construe a different purport to suit their impersonal view of monism. Here is the proper answer to such unauthorized speculators. The verses of Srimad Bhagavatam are purely theistic science understandable by the postgraduate students of Bhagavad Gita. The unauthorized dry speculators are offenders at the lotus feet of the Lord Shri Krishna because they distort the purpose of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam to mislead the public and prepare a direct path to the hell known as Andattamishra. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 16:20, such envious speculators are without knowledge and are surely condemned life after life. They unnecessarily take shelter of Sripad Shankaracharya, but he was not so drastic. As to commit an offense at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. According to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sripad Shankaracharya preached the Mayavad philosophy for a particular purpose. Such a philosophy was necessary to defeat the Buddhist philosophy of the non-existence of the spirit soul. But it was never meant for perpetual acceptance. It was an emergency. Thus, Lord Krishna was accepted by Shankaracharya as the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his commentation on Bhagavad Gita. Since he was a great devotee of Lord Krishna, he did not dare write any commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam because that would have been a direct offense at the lotus feet of the Lord. But later speculators, in the name of Mayavad philosophy, unnecessarily make their commentary on the Chatusloki Bhagavatam without any bona fide intent. The monistic dry speculators have no business in the Srimad Bhagavatam because this particular Vedic literature is forbidden for them by the great author himself. Srila Vyasadeva has definitely forbidden persons engaged in religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and finally salvation from trying to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, which is not meant for them. Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, Text number 2. Sripad Sridhara Swami, the great commentator on Srimad Bhagavatam, has definitely forbidden the Salvationists or monists to deal in Srimad Bhagavatam. It is not for them. Yet, such unauthorized persons perversely try to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, and thus they commit offenses at the feet of the Lord, which even Sripad Shankaracharya dared not do. Thus, they prepare for their continuation of miserable life. It should be particularly noted herein that Uddhava studied the Chatu Sloki Bhagavatam directly from the Lord, who spoke them first to Brahmaji. And this time, the Lord explained more confidentially the self-knowledge mentioned as the Paramam Stitim. Upon learning such self-knowledge of love, Uddhava felt very much aggrieved by feelings of separation from the Lord. Unless one is awakened to the state of Uddhava, everlastingly feeling the separation of the Lord in transcendental love, as exhibited by Lord Chaitanya also, one cannot understand the real impact of the 4 essential verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. One should not indulge in the unauthorized act of twisting the meaning and thereby putting himself on the dangerous path of offense. Om Ajana Tivrandasya, Jana Jana Shalakaya, Chakshu Anmilitam Yena, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam, Stapitam Yena Bhutale, Swayam Rupakatama Yam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Patakamala, Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha, Shri Rupam Sakrakitam Saragunantam Vintam Sadipam Sadvitam Sabadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam, Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita, Shri Vishakan Vintamscha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Krishtaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhakti Tirtha Swami Itinamini. Namaste Krishna Padaya, Prabhupada Ashtatatmani, Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti, Bhakti Tirtha Itinamini. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Krishtaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Itinamini. Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pracharini, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi, Paschatya Vishatari. Vancha kalpa tarabhyascha kripa sindhuvye vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavabhyo namo namaha. Namo mahabhadanyaya Krishna prema pratayate Krishnaya Krishna chaitanya namne bora tushe namaha. Nama brahmanya devayago brahmana hitayacha jagat taya hitaya Krishna govindaya namo namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, the word is, I will take the verse again. The verse says, I have studied the path of understanding self-knowledge from my spiritual master. the personality of Godhead. Let me put it up on the screen. So this I represents Uddhava. So Uddhava is speaking. So Uddhava says he has studied the path of understanding self-knowledge from his spiritual master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. And thus, after circumambulating him, he has come to this place very much aggrieved due to separation. Hare Krishna. So we continue to discuss the pastimes of Shri Krishna leaving the planet after his pastimes on earth. So Uddhava, by the supreme will of the Lord himself, was arranged to meet the Lord at the final hour when the Lord was about to leave the planet. You know, Krishna, just like any ordinary human being, also has emotions. And so I remember when my spiritual master, His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj, was about to leave the planet. He was giving classes weekly, even though he was having lots of physical challenges. But every weekend, every Sunday, he will be driven from the institute to the temple, and he will speak. And I tried my possible best to listen to him very attentively and also pay attention to whatever was going on, at least externally, since I could not really understand what was going on internally. But I heard him say clearly, quite oftentimes, that he is dying. And of course, as devotees, we understand what it means when we say a pure devotee, advanced devotees, or devotees of the Lord dying. Like Sri Bhaktivinoda said, he reasons ill who thinks Vaishnavas die. Vaishnavas do not die. They only transition to a different dimension to engage in a different activities that is being lined up for them either by their guru or by Krishna. So my Gurudev used to say that he is a dying man. So what is the use of exaggerating whatever he has to tell? Whenever one is about to leave the planet, there is a moment of very intense seriousness and somber attitude. So when my Gurudev was here, being on this earth planet and dealing with human beings, sometimes he would speak and crack jokes. But when he was about to leave the planet, he did not crack jokes. Whenever he cracked jokes, it was just about what Sri Prabhupada had arranged for him and experiences and revelations that had been revealed to him. But he was very serious, and he always gave information and messages that he believed ultimately was going to help the audience. And so when Krishna was about to leave the planet, whatever message Krishna wanted to impart was very serious. And he, the Supreme Lord, Shri Krishna, chose Uddhava to be the recipient of this knowledge so that the world can benefit from this knowledge. Because when Krishna was dealing with Arjuna, sometimes Krishna would allow Arjuna to espouse his own emotions and ignorance, so to speak. I say ignorance, and I say it quite loosely in the sense that Arjuna is a pure devotee. He's never ignorant at any point in time. But Krishna induced him to be ignorant. And therefore, Krishna chastised Arjuna. While speaking learned words, you are mourning for beings that need not to be mourned for. Don't you know that these people are already dead? I've already killed them. And if you think that they are the body and therefore you are having this grief, then you are in ignorance. So Krishna chastised Arjuna for being ignorant. Of course, we know that Arjuna is not ignorant. But when Krishna had to deal with Uddhava, Uddhava, his perfection, according to Brihad Bhagavatamrita, written by Sanatana Goswami, which is also the Srimad Bhagavatam as presented by the recipient, the hearer, Maharaj Parikshit, to his mother. We understand that the loving relationship between Uddhava and Krishna and that of Arjuna and Krishna is that Uddhava's love for Krishna is even much higher than that of Arjuna. So Krishna, like I was saying, chose to deliver this all-important message to Uddhava. So we have what we call Uddhava Gita, wherein Lord Krishna instructed imperishable knowledge to Uddhava. And Uddhava humbly, proudly says to both Maitreya and Vidura that this knowledge I have received from my spiritual master, the Supreme Lord, is so unique and so important that it is very, very rarely found anywhere in the universe. And Srila Prabhupada was stressing so much on the Chatusloki of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We all understand that the Srimad Bhagavatam has so many verses, so many cantos, so many chapters, so many verses, but they all stem from just simple 4 verses. And Srila Prabhupada, when we chanted the pranati of Srila Prabhupada, the translation goes that Srila Prabhupada has appeared to dismantle impersonalism and monism, atheism. So we may take note of Srila Prabhupada's purport on any text that deals with impersonalism, monism, atheism, and Buddhism. Or in other words, nihilism. Whenever Srila Prabhupada has to speak on these themes, he assumes his Nishimhade form, his lion form, and he goes very, very heavy on these sort of people. So there is an impersonal philosophy teacher in the name of Shankaracharya. And this Shankaracharya entered into this world and propounded philosophy that God is impersonal. God is not a person. How can you think of a person being able to control everything in the entire universe, both material and spiritual? So the supreme being is not a person. It's a force. It's energy. But Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that this Shankaracharya's philosophy, which was actually engineered by the Supreme Lord himself, was for a particular purpose. Because at the time that Shankaracharya appeared, the Buddhistic teachings had gained so much root in India and so many parts of the world that this Buddhistic philosophy was almost killing Vaishnava philosophy. And so the Supreme Lord thought it wise that I have to kill this philosophy. And of course, it is the same Supreme Lord who also empowered Lord Buddha to espouse the same philosophy, the Buddhistic philosophy. So one may ask, why does the Lord appear or empower individual souls to propound a particular philosophy and then later on come back to do away with that same philosophy? And this explains why the philosophy of Lord Chaitanya, which is called Achintya Beda Abeda Tattva, reigns supreme. That the Supreme Lord, we heard from our revered speaker yesterday, Her Grace Radha Govinda Devi, that whenever Krishna does one thing, it is one thing, just one thing that the Supreme Lord does, but it serves so many purposes. So when the Supreme Lord sent Lord Buddha to preach his philosophy called ahimsa, nonviolence, it was very necessary at the time, because during those times, so many people were killing so many animals indiscriminately in the name of sacrifices. And lots of these people who were killing these animals for sacrifices did not have the power to perform such sacrifices, because in the ancient days, when one performs animal sacrifice, what happens is that the particular individual soul in that animal body is actually liberated from that animal body to assume a higher body, to a human body. They had that power. So it was actually a relief for so many souls that were entrapped in the bodies of animals to be elevated to human form. Now there are 8,400,000 species of life, as we understand, in this material cosmos. And out of the 8,400,000 species, only 400,000 species are human. And it is only this human form that a soul can traverse from this material cosmos to the spiritual world. Because the human body is served as a bridge on which one can cross from this ocean of nations ignorance, miseries to the ocean of spirituality and Vaikunta, a place where there is no anxiety. So therefore, when one has this human body and does not utilize this body for self-realization, such an individual, even though is living in a human body, but he is no better than a brutish animal. He is an animal. Because if one does not serve the Supreme Lord, he engages in the same 4 basic activities that we find animals do: eat, sleep, mate, defend. We may do these things in different, diverse forms and shapes, but they all boil down to the same thing. But when a soul is awarded a human body, he lives much higher than these 4 basic demands of the living entity in this material world. And so because these people were indiscriminately killing animals that they had no power to kill, the Supreme Lord didn't want to see that happen. A similar thing happened in the Bible also during the Old Testament days, the days of Moses. It is said in Psalm 50, to be specific, verse 6 downwards. The psalmist David sings as the Lord inspired him to sing. The Lord said, "I am fed up with your animal sacrifices. I do not drink the blood of the bulls and the sheep that you slaughter. I do not eat these animals. Do you not know that I own everything? I own the hills, I own the mountains, and I own the birds in the sky. I own everything. And that if I were hungry, do you think I would ask you for these animals? I don't." So the Supreme Lord did not want to see this indiscriminate, unnecessary killings of animals. So he inspired Lord Buddha to propound this ahimsa philosophy. And with that philosophy, so many people around the world gave up this unnecessary animal killing. But because it was for a short moment, for a period of time to correct an issue, it did not end there. People enjoyed it. And as we speak, there are lots of people who still follow the Buddhistic philosophy. But it was meant for a very short while. It has expired. His Holiness Radha Govinda Swami Maharaj has one particular saying. He says that there are so many processes by which one can approach God. But in this age of Kali, there is only one process that is given to mankind to follow to attain Krishna. And that is chanting of the holy names of the Lord, not animal sacrifice, not pomp, temple worship, not tapasya, not performing austerities, meditation. So Maharaj explains that just as there are medications for a particular disease, when a medication is prepared, there is also an expiration date. And so all other processes of attaining Krishna have expired in this age of Kali. That when you take this medication, the effect is there, but because they are expired, you do not get the full strength. The full potency is not there because it's expired. But when one takes the medication that is meant for the disease that is not expired, then there is very much efficacy. And therefore, when one takes such a medication, you're sure going to get healed. And so the same Supreme Lord came as Shankaracharya and condemned, very tactful, condemned the Buddhistic philosophy of ahimsa. And instead of saying that do not kill these animals, why do you have to kill them? You have nowhere to go. This is the all in all. You're looking to go somewhere else. Wherever you call somewhere else is right here. So Shankaracharya came and then killed that philosophy. That it is not all here. There are higher domains that you can get into. So stop with this sort of meditation. The highest form of meditation is that you meditate on Brahman, the energy. When you enter into this supreme energy of Brahman, you derive so much bliss within yourself that just sitting at one place, you need not do anything. You feel so much bliss, which is a fact. You feel so much bliss. When one is being able to meditate on the Brahman aspect of the Supreme Lord, which is the three different aspects of the Supreme Being, which is Brahman, the totality of everything, the Supreme Light. When one enters into that energy, you feel so much bliss, but you do not do anything. You just sit at one place and you are in ecstasy, you are in bliss. There are so many great personalities in our scriptures who were impersonalists, and they were having so much bliss within themselves. But when they were introduced to Srimad Bhagavatam, they gave up their practices of having bliss in the Brahman realization. Because, just like I was saying, all devotees of the Lord are happy, they are blissful, yet there are different levels of this love. And so, when one is a devotee of the Lord in his personal form, the sort of love and joy, bliss he relishes and experiences cannot be compared to anything else. And if you have lived in a developed country and also lived in an undeveloped country, then you can make the comparison. If you were poor and you are now rich, you can make the comparison. If you've never been poor before, financially poor, you were born into a rich family and you've always been living a rich life, you cannot really compare rich people and poor people because you haven't lived it. Whatever comparison you make will be theoretical. But these personalities, they were performing the Brahman approach of realization, and they have attained perfection in their realization. And so they know what much love they were gaining and enjoying. But these same people, when they abandoned their Brahmani realization and took to the Bhagavan realization, which is God as a person, the love and the bliss they relished is way, 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 way superior to that bliss they were relishing while they were performing the Brahman realization. So Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that the Chatusloki is the most important, and it is very, very wrong for these people, these commentators, who have never at any point in their life, at least in this lifetime, taken it to Bhagavan realization, and yet have the audacity to explain the Chatusloki. Because the Chatusloki was spoken by Krishna. And when one speaks, it is like a poet. When a poet writes a poem, no one can really interpret or understand the poem until the poet himself explains what the poem means. Only the poet can explain what it means. Therefore, only Krishna can truly, fully explain what the Chatusloki of the Srimad Bhagavatam means. And he explained this Chatusloki to Uddhava. From this Chatusloki came so many other extensions, which is all blissful. But if one has not, in the first place, surrendered to Krishna, accepted that the supreme truth is a person, has a form, has emotions, has feelings, has intelligence, has love, then you cannot attempt to explain anything about the Chatusloki. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada is always very heavy on impersonalism, voidism, nihilism, atheism. They are all attempting to kill Krishna. Because if I have a head and I look at myself in the mirror, and the mirror and my mind is telling me I look beautiful and I accept it, and I hear other persons also say the same thing, that I look beautiful. And then another person comes and tells that, oh, Sahadev you're talking about actually has no head. It's an insult. It means you're trying to do away with me. How does anyone live as a person without a head? It means you're no more in existence. And so this is why Srila Prabhupada takes it very, very serious and offensive when these impersonalists go about denying that God has a form. Now, when Krishna was related with Arjuna, Arjuna was also very knowledgeable about the Brahman, that is the universal form of the Lord, and the Paramatma aspect of Krishna, that he is the minutest, hiding and sitting, taking a resting place in the heart of all living entities. And now, the being that is so huge and so tiny is now standing here before me with 2 arms, with 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, 32 sets of teeth, and talking to me, just like me. It's bewildering. And so Arjuna wanted to confirm that whether Krishna is the supreme personality of God and is the absolute. And Krishna said, yes. If you want to see my universal form, that Brahman, I will show it to you. And Krishna showed it to Arjuna. And Arjuna saw it and he started offering prayers. So after Arjuna had experienced the Paramatma realization of Krishna, the Brahmani realization of Krishna, and the Bhagavani realization of Krishna, Arjuna became perplexed. He became confused. He asked Krishna, Lord Krishna, I have experienced all these different three aspects of yourself. Now, which of these three is the best for me to meditate on? Should I meditate on the Paramatma in the heart of all living entities? Should I meditate on the bright, unimaginable, hundreds and thousands of suns together effulgence of yours? Or should I meditate on you, your four-armed form or your two-armed form? And what did Krishna tell Arjuna? Krishna told Arjuna, the best form to meditate on is the form standing right here before you, the form you are seeing, with two arms, with two eyes, two ears, one head. So even the four-armed form, which is Lord Vishnu, which is the same Krishna, Lord Krishna told Arjuna that preferably meditate on the two-handed form, which is Krishna. And that is what Srila Prabhupada is giving to us. Srila Prabhupada has given us all the opportunity to approach Krishna in his two-armed form, which, according to Krishna himself, is the highest and is the ultimate, is the root cause of all other forms. The Brahman effulgence is here because of material creation. The Paramatma is here because of material creation. But the Bhagavan is not here because of material creation. And therefore, when we concentrate so much on the Paramatma and the Brahman realizations, it may not be so convenient for us to transcend the material cosmos to get to the spiritual planet, which is called the Vaikuntha planets. Because the Bhagavan existed before material manifestation. So Srila Prabhupada is saying so strongly in the purport that impersonalism is condemned, and the impersonalists have no right to make any comment or give any commentary on the Chatusloki. It's impossible. They should not. So in the, let me see if I may put this up here. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 9, Text 32. Shri Krishna says, all of me, namely my actual eternal form and my transcendental existence, color, qualities, and activities, let all be awakened within you by factual realization out of my causeless mercy. So in the purport, let me see if I can put this up here so that this may see. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 9, Text 32. So, Srila Prabhupada states in the purport, the secret of success in understanding the intricacies of knowledge of absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, is the causeless mercy of the Lord. Without the causeless mercy of the Lord, one's own individual intelligence, one's own individual wit, tapasya, whatever, cannot help one to understand the Supreme Lord. Even in the material world, Srila Prabhupada continues, the father of many sons discloses the secret of his position to the pet son. Isn't that true? A father may have many sons, but if the father is a prominent individual and has very important information to pass on before he leaves this world, he passes it on to his pet son. In other words, someone in whom he is very much confident of. So an important man in social order can be known by his mercy only. Similarly, one must be very dear to the Lord in order to know the Lord. The Lord is unlimited. No one can know him completely, but one's advancement in the transcendental loving service of the Lord can make one eligible to know the Lord. Here we can see that the Lord is sufficiently pleased with Brahmaji, and therefore he offers his causeless mercy to him so that Brahmaji may have the factual realization of the Lord by his mercy only. So this is the process of understanding the Supreme Lord. One has to become a beloved son, a beloved daughter of the Lord. But how can you become a beloved son, a beloved daughter of the Lord when you deny his existence as a person? How do you live love with energy? Does that make sense? Does it make sense? Anytime we talk about love, we talk about a being, we talk about energetic. We talk about powerful, not power. So this is what we are learning today from what Uddhava himself is so graciously sharing with Vidura and also with Maitreya. And he is expressing how brokenhearted he is, being separated from the Lord. I was sharing this some time ago. One disciple of Srila Prabhupada, a Mataji from Sweden, she was asked by Srila Prabhupada, your husband and Krishna, who do you love the most? And as she was sharing this pastime, she was sobbing, she was crying, because her answer to Srila Prabhupada was silence. She could not answer, because within herself, she knew that she did not love her husband so much, and she did not love Krishna so much either. So Srila Prabhupada's question to her, she had no answer, because she didn't have so much love for Krishna, and she didn't have so much love for her husband either. Because if someone has so much love for Krishna, it's always going to be difficult to live in separation of Krishna. When such souls live in separation of Krishna, they're always in lamentation. They're always lamenting. Now, the litmus test to our love for Krishna would be how much we are lamenting to see Krishna, how much we are lamenting to serve Krishna. If we do not have such yearning to sing and serving Krishna, that tells that our love for Krishna is very little or almost nil. But the pure devotees we see, somebody like Sri Prabhupada, he may not externally display crying for Krishna. Oh, Krishna, where are you? Like Lord Chaitanya will see the blue sky and will be running, chasing after the blue sky. We'll see the ocean and be chasing after the ocean. We do not see, oftentimes in our line, the pure devotees do that. They don't do that. Within themselves, they do that all the time. But for the sake of preaching, they come to this level of Madhyama to help we, the conditioned souls, to elevate ourselves to come to the level where we cannot live a moment without Krishna's association. So Krishna's association may be his personal association, may be in the form of his name, which is not different from him, maybe in the form of his devotees, maybe in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, maybe in any of the diverse forms of the Supreme Lord. So a real devotee can be tested by how much he wants to hear about Krishna, how much he wants to have association with the devotees, how much he wants to render service to the Supreme Lord and the devotees. If these things are not there, it means our love for Krishna is only lip service. And the lip service will not take us anywhere. With that, I would like to end here and say if devotees have some things to share or some questions to ask, we have able devotees in our Sangha that may be willing to answer your questions. Hare Krishna. And thank you for being here as always. Hare Krishna. So any question, any comment?
Thank you very much, Sir Prabhu, for stepping in.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you.
I was so hopeful that Padmanayan Prabhu was going to be coming for the class.
Yeah.
So I just went on live because I was very much thinking that it was going to be there because I also need to join a meeting.
It's unlike him not to be here, so we hope everything is okay.
Yes. Must have
I'll
been the reason
try
for
to reach him after this
okay.
point.
I'll also edit the details on the YouTube live afterwards because his name is written there as the speaker. So I'll edit that later.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So if any devotees have questions or comments, they can express by indicating by anybody else. I was also just coming from a meeting, so Anandinidanam Prabhu, Amit, please ask a question.
Shma Sadhu Prabhu Dandavat Pranams.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you for stopping in once again.
Hare Krishna.
So, Prabhu, if the Lord have to send these various acharyas in the name of Sankaracharya, Lord Buddha, is that not the reason why we are having so many problems in our religious sects? So one may say the Lord himself, is the author of the confusion here. What do you say to that, Hare Krishna?
Yes, we all have the right to say Krishna is the author of confusion because he created all these philosophies, all these schools of thought. However, we cannot hold him accountable for the confusion in the sense that he created a solution for a problem for a particular period of time. And once that time elapses, you do not continue with the same process anymore. You know, it's just like if you are a farmer, there is a season that you have to sow your seed. So the season comes, you have to sow your seed. You sow the seed when the rain is about to come. When it's about to be rainy season, that's when you sow your seed. Because most seeds require water, and it's almost impossible to personally water all your crops. So by the arrangement of Krishna through the demigods shower us with rainfall. And from rainfall, we have grains, and from grains, we're able to survive. Now, Krishna has arranged this program that a certain time there should be rain. And when there is this rain, that is when you have to sow your seed. And then you sow your seed. After the rainy season has passed, you don't have to continue sowing seed. But there are others who continue sowing seed, even when it is dry season. Now, do we blame God for making somebody or letting somebody sow seed when there is no need to sow seed? When you know when you sow seeds, they're going to die. It is that individual's own negligence or stupidity. So, like Srila Prabhupada stated in the paper, that Shankaracharya's philosophy was meant for a very short period of time to rectify a situation. And after the rectification, everybody should have shown that particular process. But that is the nature of human beings. That is the nature of human beings. We all may recall in the Bible, there was no meat eaten until after the flood of Noah. After the flood of Noah, there was no vegetation. So God was asked by Noah, Lord, we don't have vegetation. There's no vegetables, no fruits, no roots. How do we eat? And then the Lord sanctioned that, now I give you the right to kill and eat the flesh of the animals, just as I gave you the right to eat the herbs. And so people started eating animal flesh. And when it got to a point when the vegetation had come back in full, and that they had to stop eating animal flesh, they became addicted to it. They did not quit. So eventually, God punished them. So in the same way, Krishna instituted solution to a problem for that particular moment. And when the problem was resolved, you did not need to continue using the same solution anymore. If you have a headache and you take Tylenol or paracetamol, and you get relieved of your headache, you don't continue taking the paracetamol or the Tylenol. But there are some people who continue taking Tylenol or paracetamol even after the headache is gone. That is addiction, and it will make you sick. So in one sense, one may say, yes, God is the author of the confusion. The confusion is there. It was authored by Krishna, but it was not authored to create confusion. It was created to create a solution. But because we are using the solution at the wrong time, just like I quoted His Holiness Radha Govinda Swami Maharaj, who says that there are so much medications we can use to treat our material disease, but they all have expiration dates. And all the other 4 processes of realizing Krishna have expired because their ages have expired. In this age of Kali, the only unexpired medication is chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Even though we may do the other 3, which is meditation, sacrifices, temple worship, but the main medication is chanting of the holy name of the Lord. So that will be my humble, limited understanding to your beautiful question, Anadinidanam Prabhu. And dear devotees, if anyone may want to add to what I said or correct what I said to make Anadinidanam Prabhu's question very beautiful.
Thank you, Anadinidanam Prabhu. Thank you for the question. Thanks, Adi Prabhu, for the question, for the answer. Does anyone have any other question, comments? I have a question. Follow up with what Anadinidanam Prabhu's question is. The question of Krishna manifesting in different forms, leading to so many different traditions, is a very bewildering subject matter for conditioned souls. And there's a beautiful verse in the Quran, in the Surah Al-Ma'idah, chapter 5 of the Quran, where Prophet Muhammad, peace of Allah be upon him, also was asking that same question to Amjad Gabriel, who was dictating the Quran to him. That there are people of the books, why this new scripture? Why don't God or Allah make them to read the same old scriptures that have been existing? Why this new tradition? Why this new scripture? So it's always a puzzle. And even though there are so many explanations given, it becomes still a little bit confusing sometimes. That Krishna is capable, difficult for him to not just make all of us one tradition, all of us Krishna conscious, or all of us Muslim, or all of us Christian. And then there will be no problem of this Muslim fighting Hindu, Hindu fighting Christian, Christian fighting Muslims. Don't you think that this so many tradition is a kind of a mistake?
Hare Krishna. Thank you for your question. It's great Salika Prabhu. Well, if one accepts that Krishna, God, is the author of confusion, then it may logically sound right that Krishna made a mistake in creating all these different schools of thought. But to help us get ourselves rid of such a misunderstanding, first of all, we have to understand what it means when we say Krishna is the author of confusion. The author of confusion means that, let's assume, when we say author, it's like somebody wrote a book. So somebody writes a book. He wrote the book for a reason. But people who read the book and do not understand the inherent meaning of what is being said, they get confused. Like I was talking about reading a poem and not getting the input or the purport of the poem from the poet. it's going to create a whole lot of confusion. But the poet did not write to confuse people. It just appears that the people reading the poem are getting themselves confused. So in that sense, Krishna is not the one causing the confusion. It is the people who are reading and not approaching the poet for clarification that are getting themselves confused. In this material world, it is the nature that because of the three modes of material nature, we are all being influenced differently. And therefore, the popular saying that one man's meat is another man's poison is always true. What I enjoy, Mr. A hates it. What Mr. B enjoys, Mr. C doesn't even want to see it. And we have education. We have different institutions. We have different schools. Is it wrong that we have kindergarten, we have primary school, we have junior high, senior high, college, university, and post-university? There is nothing wrong. If someone comes and asks, my dear sir, we all need to go to school to be educated. Why have you created so many divisions that you have to go to pre-nursery, and then you go to nursery, you go to kindergarten, you go to primary, you go to secondary, you go to college, university, and then you have to do post-graduation? Why? We are all going to school and learn the same thing. Make it one. And everybody will say, no, it doesn't work that way. Because in this material world, we grow from stages to stages. I'm sitting here. Some time ago, my son, who is taller than myself, I showed him his shirt that he used to wear some time ago. And the shirt in which he was wearing at the time, today, his hand will not fit that shirt. His hand does not fit that shirt. His pants that he was wearing, his 4 fingers might not even fit the entire pants. But it's the same person. But in the spiritual world, we don't have these different transformations. And because we have these different transformations in this material world, and Krishna has to take care of each and every one, no matter where they are at, Krishna propounds these various philosophies for different classes of beings, depending on their level of understanding. And so, if someone's understanding of God is that of the Islamic teachings, you stay there and follow it seriously and honest. If someone's level is that there is no God in existence, Krishna himself, he says it. He says he will give you the intelligence and all the necessary argument to argue that there is no God. And if your level of understanding is that, no, there is a God, but God is impersonal, because being a person sitting at one place, how can you see what's going on? I'm just sitting here. I do not know what's going on beyond my walls, the walls of my house. But if it is an energy, if it's a force, it's everywhere. It's all permeating. So if your understanding and appreciation is at that level, Krishna has made a room for you too. You know, it says that Krishna He is the one in charge of rainfall. When it rains, that is when we have vegetation, we have grains. God does not say that these sort of people do not worship me, they do not serve me, so I'm not going to give them rain. He gives rain equally. So Krishna advanced himself equally to each and every one. And depending on our level, which will develop our taste, we become attached to one particular aspect of the absolute. And so, yes, then there are, not maybe, there are commotions in the world, especially along religion, because religion has killed so many people in this world, and therefore it has scared lots of people to shy away from religion. If religion can cause so much killings, then why should I join any religion? So it's unfortunate that what God, Krishna, created to solve a problem is now creating problem instead of solving problem. And it is creating problems because we have not gotten to the architect of the schools of thought to understand from him what he actually meant by the institution he established. So God is the architect of all these religions, and they're all bona fide. And because they were created by Krishna, if one follows them, they will be helped to understand Krishna to some point. But Krishna is explaining, Uddhava is explaining, Srila Prabhupada is explaining that until one approaches Krishna in his personal form, one's knowledge of him will be limited. One's knowledge about the personality of Godhead will be limited. So that will be my answer to your question. But I see Thakur Marari Prabhu has his hand up. Prabhuji,
yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. So, Shalika Prabhu, so one quality of the Lord is unlimited. Yes, so you see, you find that you could say you have unlimited number of personalities. So the Lord is unlimited, so he has that unlimited number of ways to reach the living entity. And you see, for example, there are many incarnations, and there are some prominent ones. And it also says the Lord incarnates in different species, fish, animal, human being, half man, half lion. So the Lord is unlimited, so he produces, and also you find that where the confusion rises, one is that what we say is religion is not really religion, really religious principles or religious societies. For example, what we say as religion, for example, when we say which religion do you belong to, but that's not a correct question, because religion means worshiping God. And as a matter of fact, we look at the what do you say, relation, which is what is Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. In other words, one eternal relationship is a servant of God. So that is one who said Dharma. So English does not necessarily, religion does not necessarily tell what it is. So that's why you're saying that a lot of people have died in the name of religion, but it's really religious practices and different. Yeah. And also what we know that in the spiritual world, you don't have this confusion. Everybody is worshiping Krishna. This one. So actually, there's one religion we call Sanatana Dharma. But when look confusing also is that because we're trying from the ascending order and descend. So we start from or up rather than descending from Krishna down. So that's where the confusion will come. And lastly, Lord Buddha came in order to, people using the pretext have the Vedas in order to do animal sacrifice without the correct practices. So Lord said, okay, let us, if we deny the importance of Veda, then in order to protect it, then we shall negate it. So, but as you say, it comes for a certain time, yes, for a certain purpose. So, yes. So the confusion arises because we're trying to stay in the ascending order, go up rather than descending order. So that's my little bit. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for sharing. Prabhu, thank you so much.
I think
Yeah.
someone who has Prabhu's hand is up. I think he wants to share something.
Yes, please. Unmute you. Prabhuji, please you may unmute.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble
Hare
greetings. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Well, so much has been said on this point. Though the question itself is very sharp and can be disturbing to think that God is the author of confusion. The Bible actually says the opposite, that God cannot be called the author of confusion. So we are not, the Veda is not saying anything like that, that God is the author of confusion. Of course, there's been so many explanations given which are very valid, but the scripture explains this in a very simple way. That is according to the Lord appears or gives his instruction according to Kala Desha Patra, time, place, and circumstance. So the time and the place and the circumstance dictate the type of knowledge. And not only that, knowledge is given according to time, place, and circumstance, but the Lord also oversees the renewal of this knowledge process from time to time. So he said in Bhagavad Gita, yada yada it comes whenever there is a decline. So it comes to reestablish Dharma Samsthapanaya. So there is a renewal process. So anyway, we all understand this point that I'm trying to make. You've already said many things similar, but I don't want to dwell on it too long. But we should understand the principle of the Kalaja Sabhaka. And the reason why the Lord comes what seems to be already absolute. Now the last one.
Shimabara Prabhu, you're breaking up a lot. We can barely hear what you're saying.
So it's okay now. Is it brief?
Okay, yes.
Yeah, so the last point on this is we can say that the Lord is dynamic. The Lord is not static. And humanity is supposed to be dynamic. That is the intention of the Lord. The creation is dynamic. It's not static. So the error is when we think that things have to remain static. The error is when we think that things have to be the same all the time. The example has been given about seasonal changes, etc., etc. So God, the Lord is dynamic. He's not author of confusion, but he's dynamic. That is, according to time, place, and circumstance, he does what is necessary. And either he comes or he sends his representatives to keep renewing things. Jesus Christ in the Bible said in the Bible, I have not come to abolish the law, but I've come to renew it, to make it newer. So Jesus said that. So there is this renewal going on from time to time, whether in the Bible, whether in the Vedas. Krishna says the same thing, Dharma Samsthapanaya, to establish the principles. So this is not confusion, but this is an order. This is the order that the Lord had put in place for everything that is in motion, that is gathering dust along the line to be relieved of the dust and the unnecessary baggage, and again make it new to make it more relevant. So we cannot call that confusion. That is an order. It's an orderly process. It's an orderly process created by God. So it's not confusion at all. In fact, that is the best way things can be. Things cannot be better than that. If we can go into, I don't want to overflow it, but then if you go to history of religion and you see so many processes that have become obsolete, They have been, kind of modernized, renewed according to time, place, and circumstance. Prabhu, our Guru there, Pastor Samaraj, used the example that you don't expect that the same process and the same ways that you're doing things 2,000 years ago is the same way you have to do things now in that age. That would be like, asking people to remain, static. 2,000 years ago, how many people using cars? They're using horses and carts, to move up and down, use the, what is it called, ass, move on the asses. Now, then now we're in jet age, people flying, even trains that used to be slow, now there's now, what do you call it, auto train or, electric train, So things are taking another dimension, and there must be a level of knowledge to accommodate the level that people have arrived. So this is what we call what is it called? Dynamism of the Lord and things. It's not confusion, not at all. All right, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Asman Vara Prabhu. And thank you, Murari Gupta, for your contributions. Actually, it's an interesting subject matter. And I've had different speakers also speak on the same topic. I was quoting the Quran version because it resonates with what the Vedic conception about different religion is, where the angel told the prophet that the different diversities of scriptures or religion are just reciprocation of God's love for his children, because they wanted to see him in a particular way. They want to relate him in a particular way. They want to love him in a particular way. So he reciprocated to that and made it happen. So just like the father providing different varieties of meal in the house for different children of different age according to their needs. So the interesting subject matter, don't ignorant and the fools will not understand. So they will consider it to be a kind of a confusion. But actually, different diversities are all manifestation of love of God to the living entities that are multiplication of glorious. Thank you very much, Shimon Varapa.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, Shimon Prabhu. I would like to share this. I just found this. I just found this, and I think it might help us all. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, chapter 22, text 24. Very beautiful verse and very detailed, powerful purport. A candidate for spiritual advancement must be nonviolent, must follow in the footsteps of great acharyas, must always remember the nectar of the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, must follow the regulative principles without material desire, and while following the regulative principles, should not blaspheme others. A devotee should lead a very simple life and not be disturbed by the duality of opposing elements. He should learn to tolerate them. This is one very important verse that in early days of ISKCON formation in the West, the government sometimes would harass the devotees. So Srila Prabhupada advised that they should go on preaching very forcefully. And if the government should take them to the court, we go to the court and we present our books and we tell the court what we speak. And this is one of the verses Srila Prabhupada quoted. And if you read this, how can you say devotees are dangerous to society? Now, in the paper, Srila Prabhupada states something beautiful. He says, quite a lengthy paper, very beautiful. When the devotees have time, they may read this. But I've highlighted this point. Another important point mentioned in this connection is anindaya. We should not criticize others' methods of religion. There are different types of religious systems operating under different qualities of material nature. Those operating in the modes of ignorance and passion cannot be as perfect as that system in the mode of goodness. In Bhagavad Gita, everything has been divided into 3 qualitative divisions. Therefore, religious systems are similarly categorized. When people are mostly under the modes of passion and ignorance, the system of religion will be of the same quality. A devotee, instead of criticizing such systems, will encourage the followers to stick to their principles so that gradually they can come to the platform of religion in goodness. Simply by criticizing them, a devotee's mind will be agitated. Thus, a devotee should tolerate and learn to stop agitation. How beautiful. How beautiful Srila Prabhupada is advising us all. So just like we were saying initially, these different types of religions are there because we are in this material world, which is primarily governed by the 3 modes of material nature. So based on what influence we are under, we appreciate a particular form of religion. But as Srila Prabhupada is saying, we are not to criticize them, to cause agitation. We should encourage them and give them Krishna consciousness. And if by virtue of one's sincerity, just like most of us, if not all of us, we were all belonging to different faith or religion or some sort of ideology before we became devotees. But because some of us were somewhat sincere in trying to seek God, the Supreme Lord arranged for us to be where we are today. So, just like Srimad Prabhu was saying, we cannot blame Krishna for being the source of confusion. Like I was saying, the confusion is as a result of us studying without approaching the author. If we approached the author, just like Uddhava approached Lord Krishna, and Krishna revealed to him the essence of the Chatusloki. So when he speaks, there is no error, there is no mistake. But when we have not approached the Supreme Lord, when we do not even accept that the Supreme Force is a person, then how do we even attempt to approach him? So this is the difficulty. So thank you all for sharing. Hare Krishna. I think Srimad Prabhu has something to share, please. Is it from the previous hand raised? Oh. Well, anyone with something to share or ask before we bring this to a close? All right. So, Madhavan Prabhu, please you be on mute.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Just my humble obeisance. Thank you very much for organizing this lecture, for your austerity and your effort in making us enjoy this transcendental pastime of Krishna. Somehow my internet has been up and down, but my only two thing I want to put in is that I believe that Krishna himself sometimes makes his pastimes to be bewildering because he doesn't want to give himself out so cheaply. And he said that's when he said that those who understand my Jama Shami, Jama Jama Kama Shami Jidiam. There are those who understand my activities and my appearance.
Appearance
Only them.
Activities, yes.
So he said only those who understand it to be divine.
Yeah.
You know. So somehow or the other, Krishna creates his pastimes to make sure that non-devotees do not understand him. Because when you look at his appearance and his appearances, it's only devotees that can understand. Otherwise, it's bewildering to non-devotees.
Yeah.
So sometimes Krishna just don't want to give himself away out so cheaply. So that's those philosophies, but only devotees. And then Krishna wants a particular process to be known. That is this process of having to have a guru, come in contact with Bhakti, a particular way. That's how you can know him. Any other way is just going to be bewildering. And I think it's Krishna's design. He wants it like that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that, my divine Prabhu. We are in the season of Kartik, and it's so beautiful because this season of Kartik reminds us of two important things. When Yashoda Mai was trying to bind Lord Krishna to a wooden grinding mortar, the rope was always short by 2 inches. And it's been explained by various acharyas that the 2-inch represents two things. One is our own sincere effort to approaching Krishna, to worshiping Krishna, to understanding Krishna. And the other 1 inch is Krishna's mercy. So these two things need to be there in order to understand Krishna. If one does not make any effort to try to know Krishna, then the mercy will not come. And when one tries to serve Krishna, and Krishna decides not to bring in the mercy, then one cannot realize Krishna. So our duty, what we can do from our end, is to make the effort. The mercy part is with Krishna. He decides when to give, when not to give. But our part, what we can handle, now this powerful prayer the prayer of serenity. The prayer says that what I cannot control, I leave them up to the Lord. So it's very important, what's the name? Madhavan Prabhu, you sharing. So true, because even in devotees, Krishna still bewilders devotees. And Srila Prabhupada has explained, no one can truly, fully understand Krishna because it's impossible, but he gives a particular devotee a sufficient understanding by which such an individual can go back to him. So this is the fortune, the opportunity we have. And we pray that we can make a good use of this opportunity and make this lifetime our last and final experience in this gigantic material cosmos and go back home, back to Godhead. With that being said, I would like to end here And if Salika Prabhu is still there, maybe he can bring this to a final close. Well, we're going to humbly request all the devotees to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra to express our appreciation to their lordships and the Parampara for giving us the opportunity to assemble together once again to hear the glories of the Supreme Lord and his transcendental devotees. Jai. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Hare
Rama
Rama
Hare Rama,
Rama,
Rama Hare Hare.
Vanchakalpadtarishcha
Vanchakalapadtarishcha
Prasandubhyadeva Cha Pritana Pramavebhyo Devyo Namo Namaha.
Jai.
Jai.